All right, guys, we're going to be dealing with dilation this time. But before we look at the questions of dilation, let me talk about dilation, what dilation is. So I'm going to have the little d, the letter D for dilation here. And dilation means things get either bigger or smaller, but everything. Don't think I'm going to change one side. I'm going to change every side. So that letter can get smaller or it can get bigger. Notice the shape is the same shape. It's just bigger or smaller. That's what it means. You guys have heard dilation when it comes to your eyes. You guys get your eyes dilated when you guys go see the eye doctor. And you guys have also seen it in the movie theater. Right? On the very back, if you guys see there's a little window, the movie's there very, very small. But it gets bigger and bigger and bigger to end up getting to a big size on the big screen. So it's either small or big. That's what dilation is. I'm not going to just distort the image. I'm not just going to go one side because that changes the image all the way across. Everything smaller or everything bigger. Let's take a look at how you guys will see it on your homework. So, for example, here I have dilation of 2. Find the coordinates of the vertices. What I'm going to do, let me get the coordinates as I have them. So the original points, if I look at point E, the coordinates of E are -1, 2. I'm getting the original points. If I look at F, the original points are 2, 1. And if I look at point D, my coordinates are 0, -1. Now, things are going to get either bigger or smaller. I have dilation of 2. This little number we're going to call scale factored. If your scale factored is a number bigger than 1, I expect the image to get bigger. If your scale factor is a number less than 1, still positive but less than 1, I expect the image to get smaller. So if my scale factor is more than 1, the image is bigger. If the scale factor is less than 1, the image is smaller. So from here, dilation of 2, I expect this to get bigger. The way I'm going to get the new coordinates, so for E prime, the coordinates of E prime, what I'm going to do, the x and the y values, I'm going to multiply each by the scale factor. In this case, let me multiply each by 2. So my coordinates are going to be -2, 4. For f prime, my coordinates are going to be 4, 2. I'm multiplying each by the scale factor, in this case 2. My coordinates of d prime are 0, -2. If I plot in my points, -2, 4, that gives me my point E prime. 4, 2, that gives me my point F prime. 0, -2, that gives me my point D prime. If I connect my points, you guys can see that the image got bigger. Remember I said if the scale factor is more than 1, I expect the image to get bigger. Now for the homework, I'm not going to ask you guys to graph it. I'm going to ask you for a specific coordinate, a specific point. I'm going to ask for the coordinates of a specific point. If I ask for E prime, like find the coordinates of the point E prime, I'm just expecting -2, 4. You don't have to type in E prime -2, 4, just -2, 4. Don't forget the parentheses and don't forget the space after the comma. So just give me the coordinates of the point that I'm asking. Let's take a look at number 10. Let me get the coordinates as I have them right now. If I look at the point Y, the coordinates are 0, 3. If I look at the point X, the coordinates are 3, 0. The coordinates of W are 3, -3. Let me give myself some space. And the coordinates of Z are -2, -2. So now to find the coordinates after a dilation of 1.5, what I'm going to do, each of my values, each of my numbers, I'm going to multiply them by 1.5. So if I ask you for the coordinates of y prime, what I'm expecting you to type is 0, 4.5. I multiplied each by the scale factor. If I ask you for x prime, I'm expecting you to type in 4.5 0. For W prime, I'm expecting 4.5, negative 4.5. And for Z prime, I'm expecting negative 3, negative 3. Once again, don't forget when you type in your answer, don't forget to type in the parentheses and don't forget a space after the comma. Simple as that. So question 9 and 10, I give you guys a graph and I ask you for the coordinates. For numbers 11 and 12, I'm still asking for the coordinates, but in this case, I give you the coordinates already. I don't give you a graph, I just give you the values. So for question number 11, if I'm asking for P prime, if I'm asking for the coordinates of P prime, I expect you to give me 0, negative 3. I'm going to multiply each by my scale factor, which is 1.5 this case. If I ask you for the coordinates of Q prime, I'm expecting you guys to type in negative 3, positive 3. If I ask you for R prime, you should say 0, 4.5. And lastly, for S prime, you will type in 4.5, 3. I multiplied each by my scale factor, which is 1.5 this time. Simple as that. Multiplied, for when I'm asking for the coordinates, multiply each value by the scale factor. I think we get the idea. We're not going to do question number 12. Now, let's take a look at number 13. We're going to do the rule, write a rule to describe each transformation. When it comes to graphs, so looking at 13 and 14, dilation is easy to tell because the image got bigger or smaller. Number 13, we see that it got bigger. Number 14, we see it got smaller. Remember, we start with the black. And I know the blue comes after because each letter in the blue has the little apostrophe, which is what we call prime. So I know this is dilation. So I'm going to start with dilation of, when I type in the rule, that's what I type. Now I need to find the scale factor. To find the scale factor, I'm going to follow a point. It doesn't matter which one we follow. If I look at the values of h, I'm going to follow my point h. My coordinates of h are 2, 3. And if I look at h prime, the coordinates of h prime are 3, 4.5. Now what I'm going to do is, for me to find the scale factor, I'm going to use either the x or the y value. It doesn't matter which one I use. And I'm going to do the number from the prime divided by the original number. So for example, I'm going to use the x value. So I'm going to think of 3. Notice I'm starting from the number from the prime. 3 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2 gives me 1.5. So my scale factor is 1.5. I was expecting my scale factor to be more than 1 since the image got bigger. So 1.5 sounds about right. Looking at question number 14, I can tell the image got smaller, so I'm just going to go dilation of, I'm expecting the scale factor to be less than 1 since the image got smaller. I'm going to follow a point. It doesn't matter which one. I notice the coordinates of u. I'm going to follow the point u. Coordinates of u are 2, 0. The coordinates of u prime are 0.5, 0. I cannot use the y value. 0 divided by 0. I cannot do that yet. That's a big division, but that's calculus 1. Now, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the x value. I'm going to go 0.5. Once again, start from the number from the prime. 0.5 divided by 2. And that's going to give me 0.25. I knew my scale factor was going to be less than 1 because the image got smaller. So 0.25 sounds about right. For this purpose, we're dealing with dilation. So I'm expecting 15 and 16 to be dilation as well. One way I can tell is because the values, if I look at my point S and S prime, the values change. I notice there's a 1 in S, but there's no 1 in S prime. So that tells me it's neither rotation or reflection. Once again, later on, we're going to have with all the transformations together. So because the values change, I know it's not rotation or reflection. It could be translation or dilation. But since this week we're dealing with dilation, I'm going to say dilation. So I'm going to say dilation of, so I'm going to try dilation. And the way I'm going to do the scale factor, I'm going to go -2, start with the number from the prime, -2 divided by -1. -2 divided by -1 is +2. Now, if I notice, if I multiplied each of my numbers by 2 on the original number, I get the numbers from the prime. So yeah, it makes sense. My dilation of 2. Let's take a look at number 16. I see numbers changed. I see on S, I'm following S again. There's a 2, and S prime doesn't have a 2. So I'm either dealing with translation or dilation. I'm going to try dilation. Dilation of. And the way I'm going to find the scale factor, I'm going to go -3 divided by -2. -3 divided by -2 gives me 1.5. Now, if I multiplied each of these numbers by 1.5, I see that I do get the numbers on the primes. So dilation of 1.5 sounds about right. So on dilation, if I'm asking for the coordinates, I did questions 9 through 11. If I'm asking for the coordinates of a specific point, just give me the coordinates of that point on the homework. Now, when I'm asking for the rule, notice I did questions 13 through 16. Always start with dilation of when you type in your answers. Dilation of, capitalize D on dilation, and then give me the scale factor.